All right, what's going on, guys? DMP here. Welcome to the first video of the channel of hopefully many. Today we're going to cover the trades that I took for today's market on January 14th. So let's get right into it. So first things first, let's go on to our higher time frame. I'm going to go ahead and start from the 4 hour actually. So first things first, on the 4 hour, we can notice that we have this 4 hour gap here that ended up inversing. So we had this bullish gap from yesterday's market that we were, kind of consolidating inside of, and that was our high time frame condition. For me, I'm looking at this gap and I'm, saying to myself, if we're holding this gap bullish, I'm expecting draws towards all this buy side. And if we decide to flip this gap, I'm now looking for all these stacked sell side levels. So as we could see here yesterday, or not yesterday, sorry, overnight, this 4 hour ended up inversing during London. So now coming into New York, when I see this, I'm wanting to see continuation into these draws here. So scaling down to my hourly time frame, I see that we have this hourly fair value gap here and that price is hovering inside of it pre-market. So with this hourly gap now, this is now my new condition. So for me, it's either we're going to hold this hourly gap for these sell side levels or potentially flip it and come for maybe this London high here or these smooth edge highs where we have where we have Asia highs and then also previous PM highs that are marked out right there. So again, scaling down on my time frames one more time, going into the 15-minute, we can see that we also have a 15-minute gap aligned with the hourly gap. So that builds good conviction there for shorts. Now, we had 8:30 news today. We had PPI news, and you can see this is our 8:30 candle. And going down to my 5-minute time frame to make this a bit clear, we can see this 8:30 candle ended up coming up. And with this move up here, we manipulated through these internal highs. Now at this point here, we had an SMT with ES. ES failed to come and take out these highs, so we have a bearish divergence in the market. And we also have bearish confluences aligned to, give us confidence in a bearish bias. Now, I don't use daily bias whatsoever, but I'll use situational bias where, in a situation like this, I'm wanting to be bearish and see lower prices. Unless, we flip and start trading above the hourly, then I would look, to trade into the highs and flip towards bullish bias. So yeah, we had that SMT with news. And basically I know that, ideally we're wanting to long towards data high. That is a very important session important draw on liquidity in the market are going to be data highs and lows. But today, I'm going to explain kind of why I didn't anticipate that data highs would go and get taken, and why I was more so wanting to short more than anything. So let's go ahead and get into my entries. So here off the 5-minute chart, I did take a pre-market stab short. Typically, I'm not taking any kind of pre-market trades, but today the market did look structured to potentially open and trend lower, or even continue to trend lower in pre-market going to the open and towards this pre-market low that I have marked, this 7 a.m. low. Now, as you see, I have an S&T marked here that we had with ES, and at this point, I want to assume this SMT is going to be invalidated because we technically use this SMT and delivered towards an objective, which would be, this hourly gap that we tapped into. And then we formed, this new bearish SMT, which, we should take more significance towards, being that it's our new SMT. So from here, I ended up taking a short. I'm seeing that we had a 15-minute inverse. I saw that we had a very slight tap on a 5-minute gap here. We tapped off of a 15-minute CISD as well. And I saw nice, displacement on the 5-minute. So I decided to take a stab long or short, and I shorted right here on 737, put my stop at the most recent high here at 770, and was just targeting these 7 a.m. pre-market lows for about a 1R. As you guys can see, this trade did not play out. This trade ended up getting stopped at 925. This 925 candle came up, spiked up, stopped us out. But ultimately the 930, or no, actually, had we not got stopped out by the 925 candle, 930 would have actually sent us down. So as you can see here, we actually got wicked out, by, a couple ticks here. And then we ended up delivering into that sell side level that I wanted. So the draw was correct. But I just ended up, kind of pre-firing a bit. And yeah, the trade just didn't play out. So took about a $2,100 loss there. And these are across combines. This month has been somewhat of a struggle for me. I've gone through maybe about 4 sets of combines for the month. But honestly, that's not bad. There are people who, are going through those in a single day. And yeah, conditions just haven't been the most ideal for my system, which is continuations. But today, was actually pretty clean. So we'll go over the actual winning trade that I took. So yeah, I lost around 2,100 on this loser. And then off for the winner, We ended up being up around 1,033 on the day. So we made around, 30 something hundred here on this trade. So basically what I'm seeing here at this point is we trade up and we're looking like we're going to go towards data. And I ended up missing out on this inverse here. I was actually going to take this and try and ride it up into data. But I personally just didn't like the risk to reward on it. And, I just wasn't fully convinced that price was just going to full on, run up to data high just because, the market on the higher time frame is in bearish structure. So I'm really just waiting to see, some form of a short. And I texted some of my boys that I'm in a group chat with, and I told them today, ideally I'm only looking to short. If the market just, rips higher, I probably just close my charts out and come back tomorrow. So here we can see we had this push up and we came and swept out these range highs. From this sweep, we can see a very strong move down and we have this big 1 minute fair value gap. So now what I'm looking for is either to see this 1 minute gap get flipped and I'm looking to short, or I'm looking to see some form of continuation. Ideally, I'm preferring continuation, and that's what we got here. So we can see here on this move down, we ended up forming a bearish 1 minute gap. And all I'm wanting to see now is some form of a retrace into this gap and a displacement out, ideally closing below, this bullish gap here. So we can see on this 939 candle, we ended up coming up into this 1 minute gap, getting the close below the bullish gap. And then we have, levels that we can draw towards down here. 632, we had 615, 594, and 569. And like I said, based on the higher time frame, if we're bearish, I'm assuming that all these, low resistance lows are going to get taken out. And you can see that the market did just that. So I entered here at the 939 candle, and my break even was based here on like this internal low on the lower time frame. So kind of just these smooth lows right here. And typically on trades like this where we don't have a clear break even, I'm either going break even on strong displacement, such as this right here, this candle here, or I'm looking to the left and looking to see if we have any kind of, levels such as internal lows, PD arrays, like gaps, or anything like that to go break even at. So here, as you can see, once the market gave me clean displacement through these internal lows and also hit, the level I wanted to go break even, I ended up moving my stop break even. And then from there, we, perfectly made it towards my draw on liquidity and hit TP for about a 1.1 R. So this allowed me to secure about $1,000 across my combines. I'm ideally looking to have these passed by the end of the week. I haven't been max leveraging them as I typically do with my evals, just because conditions just haven't been the best. So what I've been doing is kind of just risking about half the buffer per trade, and this will basically just elongate how long it'll take to pass. And essentially it will just take me about maybe 4 to 5 days, maybe 3 days to pass instead of 2 days, which is completely fine. But yeah, I mean, I've been kind of burning and churning through the evals through this month just with the price action we've had. And like I said, just hasn't been that great for my model personally. But yeah, today it did offer pretty decent movement. The pre-market trade I took, I mean, like I said, I don't trade pre-market all too often, but I can say that I did like this setup, in the pre-market. And, it is a trade that I, would take again. But yeah, I mean, this right here is my bread and butter continuation. I mean, we come up, get some form of manipulation here, strong displacement down, and then you get a retrace, into an imbalance and a nice displacement out. You have clear draws below, and yeah, you just go for simple 1Rs. Sometimes you'll even be able to catch a 2R. But yeah, so that's pretty much, what I looked at in the market today, what I took. I'm going to be trying to upload these videos more often. This is my first video, so do bear with me. I am definitely going to get a better camera. This is just kind of like a placeholder for the time being. And also, if you guys have any content that you're wanting to see, I am taking it upon myself this year to do my best to try and help as many of you guys as I can. Over the last few months, I've gotten a lot of DMs about people wanting to learn and this and this and that. So I decided to start doing content here on YouTube. And yeah, so if you guys have anything you want to see here, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll be sure to work on those videos for you guys. But yeah, that's the recap for the day, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.